Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to something a little different. So as you know, recently I've been trying to play some of the games from my library. I have a lot of games, huge backlog. So I wanted to sort of do these occasional thought videos of what I've played so far and my thoughts. I am making some reviews for games that I have completed, but there are other games that I'm either not going to finish because they're not my kind of thing, or perhaps they are very long and it'll take some time. So just wanted to recap. So we are halfway through the month of January 15th today. And so far, I've actually not done so badly. So as you all know, my main game that I usually play is Apex Legends. I've not been playing it too much recently because my mouse has been giving me some issues. So with the single player experiences, I started this month with a story about my uncle. So a short linear experience. It's a sort of grappling game, you could say. You grapple around places, and that is how the game plays mostly. It was a nice little game. It should take you about 2 to 3 hours max. First time, maybe a little longer, but that's about it. So yeah, it's a nice game, relaxing, well made, generally simple game. It was given away free, so I wanted to start with something easy, and so we did that first. Next is another game very similar to that one. I've mentioned this a few times as well, and it is called Valley. Now, Valley is more about parkouring, running fast, jumping higher. So, in this game, you find yourself in a mysterious valley in the Rockies, and you find an old military experiment that was happening there. And part of that was some soldiers were given these leaf suits that they wore, and they were called pathfinders. So they basically jumped around, ran faster, and it helps. And also it had this thing called quantum immortality or something like that, where basically you couldn't die. So if you died, what happened was they basically revived you from a different timeline, and something else nearby died. So a living thing like a tree or an animal or something. So that was their main gimmick. So you had to make sure that the valley nearby was in a good state. So you could give life to creatures. So make sure everything is like fully lifed up, as it were. And that way you could, keep doing your thing. And there was also like a secret military experiment trying to create a bomb or something. So you found out about that as well. So another interesting game, another game which should take you about 3 to 4 hours. First attempt for me took me a little over 3 hours, even though I took several breaks. So another nice little game, very cheap on Steam, usually 90% off, like $1 or something, dollar, $2 maybe. Then I tried something called The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Some of you may have heard of this game. I think it won a lot of awards or something. And this was given away by Epic, I think recently and maybe twice, I can't remember now. But this is a more of a detective mystery style of game. And to be honest, this is not my kind of game. So I played about an hour and then I decided I'll check it out later perhaps. So this one you are a guy who's like specializes in supernatural mysteries and solves those murders and stuff like that. So you are in a place trying to find out what happened to this boy Ethan Carter and the mystery around that village and town, whatever you want to call it. The game looked very beautiful and it was stunning in some places. And I was playing the Redux version, so I think the graphics are improved. This game is from 2014, I believe. So anyway, I tried it out a little bit, about an hour or so. For some reason, I was starting to get headaches, maybe because of the FOV being low or something. Even though the FOV was pretty good, I maxed it out. We got up to 110, 120. So perhaps it was that, or maybe some motion blur or something that was making me a little uncomfortable. So I decided to stop it and try it out later. Also, it wasn't really my kind of game. It's too slow paced for me. But yeah, if you are into those sort of games, this would be worth checking out. I may look into playing this later down the line when I'm in the mood for these kind of games. Now, besides that, I've been streaming recently as well, and the game that I've been streaming mostly is Test Drive Unlimited. So this is the open world racing game from 2006, one of my favorite games. And basically, you are on an island in Hawaii, like a real island, and they have mapped out the entire island with like thousands of miles of roads, and you have this sort of life sim style setting here where you go around showrooms, you buy cars, Then you go and buy houses with garages to park your cars, and then you go around the island doing races and events and other sort of smaller activities. Also very interesting game. So main races here are like racing against other cars, racing against the time. So you have like a time, you have to finish the race in a certain time. They've also done a division of cars. So basically all the cars are divided into groups. So you have A, B, C, D all the way up to G. And G is the classic cars. So each race has a restriction, like you can only use Class D cars for this one or Class A cars. And there are some interesting races. One in particular that I really enjoyed was the island race, basically around the island. So you have to go around the outside of the island. There's like a 125-mile road, and you have to finish that race in an hour with traffic in it. And that was a ridiculous race. I did it on stream, kept hitting cars and the police chasing me and stuff like that. But we still managed to get it in about 58 minutes. So that was fun. So that is a game that I'm trying to finish on stream. It'll take a little time because it's a big open world game. Should take probably 20, 30 hours. So that is another game that I've been enjoying. I played it many years ago. I played it with keyboard and mouse, so with the keyboard arrow keys. So this is the first time I'm actually playing with a controller. And also, besides this, I finished Prey from 2006, another old game, a game that I had heard a lot about, mostly by people who hated the new one because it was also called Prey, but it had nothing to do with that. So in 2017, Bethesda released a game called Prey. And the people who played the original game, they were unhappy because it used the name, but it had nothing to do with this new, with the old one. So I thought, okay, let's check out the old one, see what the fuss is about. And overall, I enjoyed it quite a lot. It was a slightly different style of game. It's made in the Doom 3 engine, the id Tech 4 engine, and the graphics actually looked very good. The lighting shadows were exceptionally good even now. The only thing I did not like was the human character models. They did not look very good. They had not aged well at all. But the interiors of the places that you are in. So basically, the story is like you are in native Cherokee, I think. A guy called Tommy, who's like a soldier, who's just returned, and he wants to just move away from the reservation because he's not a fan of all the history and stuff like that. But his girlfriend is, and she wants to stay. And then during like a middle of a fight in a day, when they're at the bar, well, it was at night, I think. Yeah, so they get abducted by aliens, and then he has to basically fight his way across this massive ship, try to figure out what's going on, and try to save his people. So yeah, that was an interesting experience. It wasn't very long, but it felt longer. Took me about 7 hours to finish that game, but it was very enjoyable overall. Besides this, I started playing something else yesterday, brand new game called Vaporum. Now, Vaporum is something I've not played. This style of game I've not played. It's called a grid-based first-person dungeon crawler. Now, I have played dungeon crawlers. Like, I mean, you could say Diablo is a dungeon crawler, Darkest Dungeon, you could say is a dungeon crawler. It has dungeon in the name, I guess. But this is a different style. So you are in first person, like I said, you move from grid to grid, like a square to square, and turn around. And basically, you have to solve some puzzles. You get some weapons, you get enemies you have to take out, and then figure out what to do, open doors, pull this up, close this door, stuff like that. I played about a couple of hours so far yesterday on stream, and I found it quite interesting, mostly because I've not played this style of game. So I'll try and finish that if I can as soon as possible and have a review out for that. But it looks very interesting, and if you are someone who likes to explore different genres and play different things, this could be something worth checking out. So there are two games, Vaporum and then Vaporum Lockdown. Both were on sale. I think they should still be on sale. You can pick them up on Steam. The first one is cheaper, so I thought I'll check out the first one. So yeah, those are the games that I've been playing this month, 15th of January so far. I've installed a few more games. I'll try and see if I can play a bit more. But I'm trying to have like a mix of different games, different genres, and depending on the mood, play a little bit of this or a little bit of that. So anyway, let me know what you think. This year, like I said, I've been trying to finish well, not finish it, but at least try to tackle it and play more games. So let me know if you guys are trying something out like this, because we have a lot of games. We have no shortage of quality games at our disposal, but we still don't know what to play, mostly because we look at our libraries and we get choice paralysis, let's say, and we just end up playing whatever we are comfortable with. So in my case, I would go back to Apex or something. But I tend to play Apex like a madman for about a month or so, month and a half. When I finish the battle pass, then I don't really know what to do. So I lose interest. I try something else. So this is that period between seasons where not much is happening. And even when there is happening, I'm mostly angry and upset and annoyed with the game half the time. So anyway, um, so far I'm doing decent as far as backlog is concerned. I had set very small targets for myself to finish at least like a dozen games or so this year. I've already done three so far, so I'll hit that target hopefully comfortably. But let's see how things go. Anyway, thought I'll make this update style video every now and then to talk about some games, some hidden gems that you might not have heard of or you would like to try and see my opinion. But I'll make more detailed reviews for stuff that I complete. And yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.